Hey, welcome to The Explainer. This is where we take really complex topics and just boil them down into clear, dynamic presentations. So today we're digging into a question that's really at the heart of all great detective fiction. And it's a tough one. What really makes someone a hero when they're up against crime and injustice? Is it someone with a noble heart? The person who looks at a broken system and says, nope, I'm breaking the rules because they believe there's a greater good at stake? Or is it the total opposite? Is the real hero that brilliant mind who operates perfectly within the rules, someone who can use logic to see the absolute truth of a situation? To really get into this, we're going to look at two very different answers, and they come from a celebrated Burmese collection of world detective stories, translated by the amazing author Maya Than Tent. Let's get into it. All right, first up, let's look at this incredible character who's actually famous for her crimes. Meet Siren Jane. Now, Siren Jane isn't your average thief. She has this specific calling card. She only steals from the rich and corrupt, and then she anonymously gives all the money away to public charities. So she's kind of a Robin Hood figure, right? A hero to the people, but a huge problem for Scotland Yard. And her process is just so consistent and effective. First, she picks a target. Not just anyone rich, but someone who's unethical, who's boastful about their wealth. Then, she pulls off this brilliant, non-violent heist. And the last step? All the money gets donated anonymously to people who actually need it. So you have to understand, her crimes lead to these really tangible, positive results for the community. We're talking £4,000 for an old people's home, another $4,000 for a local hospital, $3,000 to a maternity ward. She's even planning her next heist specifically to fund a children's hospital. It's wild. And get this. Even the detective who's hunting her, Inspector Peter from Scotland Yard, can't help but admire her skill. He actually calls it a battle of wits. That tells you everything, doesn't it? Even to the law, she's not just some thief. She's a brilliant adversary. Okay, let's totally switch gears now. Our second character is a completely different kind of hero. He's not motivated by social justice. Not at all. He's driven by the thrill of solving a puzzle. It's time to talk about Sherlock Holmes. So, we're looking at the case of the Blue Carbuncle. And it doesn't kick off with some big crime. Nope. It starts with a lost hat and a Christmas goose. That's it. Just some random stuff found on a London street. To anyone else, it's nothing. But to Holmes, it's the beginning of a fascinating puzzle. And this is where you just see Holmes's mind at work, and it's incredible. He takes this one beat-up hat, and from it, he builds an entire biography of its owner. The large size, the guy's an intellectual. The fact that it was once high quality but is now shabby, he used to have money, but not anymore. Tallow stains tell him the man's too poor for gaslight at home. He literally reads a person's life story from their hat. So Holmes starts tracing this goose's journey, and what he finds is just this absurd series of events. A priceless gem gets stolen. The thief panics and hides it inside a goose. He loses that goose in a street fight, and somehow it all ends up in Holmes's hands. The real puzzle isn't just finding the gem. It's figuring out this ridiculous path it took. And this really gets to the heart of what makes Holmes tick. Yeah, finding the gem is the goal, but that's almost not the point for him. The real reward is the mental game. It's solving the puzzle of how it all happened. He's not in it for justice or money. He's in it for the satisfaction of untangling that intellectual knot. Okay, so we've got our two case studies, right? The noble thief and the brilliant detective. Let's put them side by side and really compare their philosophies. When you put them together, the contrast is just wow. Siren Jane's primary motive? Social justice. Holmes's? Solving puzzles. Her method relies on empathy and cunning, while his is all about pure logic and observation. And here's the kicker. She completely defies the law for what she sees as a higher good, but Holmes masters the law to find the truth. But here's where it gets really interesting. After all that logic, after perfectly solving the puzzle, what does Holmes do? He lets the thief go. He says it's Christmas, a time for forgiveness. And he realizes that sending this guy to prison would just turn a scared man into a hardened criminal for life. So in the end, the master of the law decides to dispense his own brand of justice, mercy. So if we were to, say, chart out Holmes's priorities, you'd see upholding the law and restoring justice are way up there. Personal gain is practically zero. But that final act of letting the thief go, it shows that even for him, there's a belief that sometimes true justice means you have to bend the rules you live by.
Now, Siren Jane's chart, totally different story. It's just one massive spike. Personal gain? Nothing. Upholding the law? Not a concern. It's 100% about restoring justice, her version of justice. It's his absolute, unwavering focus on our own moral code and nothing else.
So we've looked at the evidence from both of these classic stories. What's the final verdict? What do we make of all this? Well, we're left with two really powerful but totally conflicting ideas of what a hero is. You've got the one who breaks the law to serve a higher sense of justice, and then you've got the other who masters the law to satisfy a brilliant mind, but also knows when to show mercy. And that brings us right back to where we started. So, who's the greater hero? Is it the one who defies a flawed system for the greater good? Or is it the one who masters that system, but has the wisdom to know when to bend the rules? That is a puzzle I think we'll leave for you to solve.